invite out for Clubhouse. Clubhouse is gonna be the new MySpace in a minute. So y'all give me 1 minute while I get right. All right. We'll see how many people find me on Clubhouse without me sending an invite. All right. So if you guys want to come in and jump on TikTok, we're gonna go on TikTok longer than we're gonna do Clubhouse because we're gonna Clubhouse. I'm gonna have to shut down in a minute. I don't know who's getting my personal information, but I have people. You know, you can call people on Instagram or Facebook. Which one is it? You could just call people. It's like a. We're not doing that. You could call people and through the app. So I guess some people just be calling me randomly, and I'm so petty that I answer it. Just so I've been having phone conversations with just some random people that clearly didn't think I was going to pick up. But it's all good. It's all love, right? Credit Goddess, how you doing? Gregory, I see you down there, brother. Tavares Garrett in the building. Tavares Allen Garrett, Rose, Credit Goddess. So we're gonna talk about some real estate. And we're gonna simplify it in a way that everybody can understand it. We can talk about a few different things. Normally, I like to ask questions and see what challenges, even learning challenges that people are going through. And I can help navigate them through those challenges. Again, we're on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, and I'm gonna walk out probably for the next hour or so. Let me turn that down for the because YouTube, they'll cut you off in a minute. So yeah, let's do it, folks. Shoot, wait, how many of y'all down there? 7, 8, 9? Shoot, y'all could have just came to my house. I'll tell you what, I'll just drop by y'all house and we could just do this live. Put a 2 in the chat if we could that's probably just easier with the amount of people we have in here. But it is all good. All right, if you guys are on TikTok, go ahead. I'm going to invite everybody up just to ask questions or listen or contribute to the conversation like we used to do back in the day. Evelyn, how you doing? I see you on TikTok. Karen, how you doing? Gigi, is it Gigi? How you doing, Gigi? I'm gonna need some more people. Tavares, I may need you to come over on TikTok and help out, but that's all right. All right. Let me see here. Let me go mute this person and I don't know how to take anybody. Oh, let's do that. Let's see what does that do? Okay. All right. So let's do that. All right. My name is Otis James. As many of you already know, I'm a full-time real estate investor out of the San Francisco Bay Area. I was a mortgage broker for about 13 years, probably a little longer than that, but we went out of business because real estate debacle happened, and we was like, yeah, no, we probably not gonna be doing this. We could have stayed in it, but I didn't like. There's certain, they say all money ain't good money, right? And I was when I was a mortgage broker, I was a processor, a loan originator, and I managed the office with my father, and it wasn't, just the type of people, not the type of people, but just it wasn't worth the money, just the stress, right? So we dropped that, but I was doing that for about 13 years. We ran a real estate brokerage for about the same time, probably a little more than that. Under just hold on, give me a second. We're having trouble. Okay. Okay, let's see here. All right. Well, that's just gonna have to hold on 1 second. All right. So it's really been all things real estate. So I was a real estate broker for some time. I still am a real estate broker. I've been a licensed real estate professional for, I think we just cut off on Instagram. So we just gonna have to, that's just not going. All right. So it's been all things real estate. So I've been exposed to real estate for a very long time. When we start talking about multifamily commercial, I was a I left at the corporate level. So I got into the multifamily industry in 2001 and exited about 20 years later, a little over 20 years later. And there's the invites going out. And exited over about 20 years later. So a lot of the teaching that you guys hear me, going over on the multifamily commercial side is from that industry. I was overseeing $650 million in multifamily commercial assets when it was all said and done. I'm a long-term hold investor. I invest all over the country. I'm not married to one particular strategy. I think that you should know every strategy and then use which one is appropriate. You guys hear me go on rants all the time about how I don't do courses. I have a course. I don't advertise it. I'm actually in the process of having them take it down because sitting behind a computer screen and not being able to interact and ask questions is not the best use of people's time, in my opinion. And it wasn't worth putting people in that position just for the income that it generates. So I'm willing to forego that income so people can, it's great for knowledge. I'm not comfortable with it. So that is going away. Some of the things we have coming up, and I've consulted on multiple projects, domestic and abroad. I just about any type of real estate activity that you can imagine I've done. I bought and sold notes on the secondary money market. I'm licensed in insurance because we use insurance to leverage for real estate. I'm not in the insurance business. I own single family homes, multifamily commercial, and I'm buying and selling and always trying to do some new things and generate some new opportunities for the people in our real estate family. 70% of my time goes into teaching, 30% is into investing. Part of the teaching is creating opportunities for people in our real estate family. So that means putting a project together, grouping about 5 or 6 people to engage, and then I'll take the lead on the project and we'll just go flip to generate some income for folks. That's part of our real estate family. 4 Data Points Academy was birthed out of necessity. I just didn't like the way it was being taught, and I didn't know if people were intentionally teaching it in a way that that generates the most revenue but doesn't provide the most results, or they just didn't care. So I wanted to create a platform where people could learn real estate investing at their own pace and not have to have the pressure about having to keep paying for that education. I understand life happens, so I wanted to create an opportunity for people to be able to always come back and improve their learning in real time, not via course or videos or the automated stuff, because the practical application of real estate investing is or the lessons is what's going to make you successful as a real estate investor. So 4 Data Points Academy, we started under the name James Street Capital, which is my investment company. We had to branch those off really because the educational component of what we did grew quicker than I had anticipated. And currently I mentor about 350 people directly. And we're going to 1,000, and then we're going to have to scale up. And, we're going to have another conversation about that. But all things real estate is that's my life. I'm 49 years old, and like I said, I've been exposed to real estate. My father's been a real estate broker since the early 70s. I've lived through, all the real estate fluctuations when interest rates rose up to over 18% in 1981, when the dot-com bubble burst in 99, the 2008 real estate debacle, and what's going on now. So all of that education and all of those things contribute to my knowledge base. So 4 Data Points Academy was a way to simplify real estate investing or demystify these complicated investment strategies for the average person and do it at a price point where the average person can engage in the process. So today we're going to take it back to basics. Tavares, you with us?
Absolutely. What's happening?
All right. So that link up top, I don't think it's going to, I don't know what's going on with it, but for
Send me
some,
the one that you have. I've used a couple of them, but they're just they're just links. Like there's
yeah, no, it's all good.
specific. So
Let me
do you want
see.
me to put one of those up there?
Yeah, let me see if I can fix this for you. Hold on. Let me go to, oh no, it's not gonna let me.
Because I'm on TikTok. I actually was able to log onto your TikTok there.
Okay,
Through
so yeah, you can just copy
does it?
link. If you go to the TikTok, share it. If you go to the actual where I'm at live right
Mhm.
now and just share it,
Yep,
and an
gotcha.
option should come up that says copy link, and you can just post it here on Clubhouse. We probably gonna shut this Clubhouse down probably in an hour or so, probably even less than that, and just stay on TikTok because I think
All right, check this out.
it's a little bit easier.
Check this out. I'm about to post it right now.
Nicholas, what's going on, brother? I appreciate that testimonial, sir. Y'all don't know, so I have where we have some people working on our brochures and websites and all that other stuff. Part of the scaling conversation, and I'm going through all these testimonials, and I just pick random people to see if they wanted to share their experience, and they're pretty. It was pretty. I don't know. Maybe I'm just losing testosterone, but I got emotional over a lot of these a lot of these testimonials, man. I don't know what it is. You
Did you get
know,
ours?
I did, man. I hit you guys back, man. That was dope. And you somebody like myself, I only focus on the things that are wrong. If you guys on TikTok want to come up on stage, just go ahead and invite, click the request invite or whatever, and I'll pull you up. I only focus on all of the things that are wrong because there's so much pressure to be perfect in this space, because I have to. Because one, you know, I got to represent, people that look like me in a way that is polished and not embarrassing to my parents. And two, we're always trying to create an end user experience that people are proud of. So my name's on this thing, so I'm obsessed about making sure that things are always perfect. Now, things aren't always going to be perfect. No company in the world is perfect 100% of the time, but we're always trying to identify areas where we can improve. So I don't always get a chance to focus on the good things because for me it's never good enough. So when these testimonials were coming in, I think that was the first time where I really took a moment to see what impact that we were having on people, and that was just dope. It was dope to see, and you know, I was proud of it. All right, body synthesis. Okay, I see you right there. All right, so you guys on TikTok. So we're gonna go over real estate investing basics. And Rose, are you with us? I always catch her off guard. Karen, I'm trying to bring you up, but I don't know what it's not letting me for some reason. So Rose, credit goddess. So she rocks with us many a time, and she is very good when it comes to educating people on how to manage debt. And managing debt is a major part of real estate investing. If you don't know how to manage debt, you can get yourself into trouble. As real estate investors, we want to borrow everything, buy something, make it worth more than we bought it for, and then bring in some permanent financing to pay off every body and every entity that we utilize to get to that point. And so managing debt is a major component of that. That is something that at Four Data Points Academy we are going to expand to after a while. Right now, we're born. The heart of what we do is real estate investing education.
Ironically,
What's going on, sir?
3 sets of rims on it.
That's all right. Make sure when you guys come up, thank you. Just make sure you guys are on mute. So, real estate education is the core of what we do, but the goal is to put people in a position to improve their quality of life, and real estate investing alone is not going to do that. You can have all the money in the world. If you don't know how to manage it, then what are you going to do? If you have eventually you're going to have a company, right? You're going to have people working for you. So I teach people how to invest in real estate. Then the next level is teaching them how to have a real estate investing business. In doing that, there's a certain component of that business that you need to place additional focus on. And one of those is leadership. So we are getting in to leadership training, some more personal development, the science of sales. That's going to be the next phase. That's phase two. That's called Ascend U. So Ascend University, right? So that we're going to be rolling that out next month. And then after that, we're going to get into some other areas that I think will round out the quality of life experience, right? Now you're making money. Now you know what to do with it. Your estate planning is where it needs to be. Your entity structure is where it needs to be. You're investing and diversifying, taking the money from real estate and putting it into some other revenue streams. And we want to be able to offer all of that. So Four Data Points Academy eventually is not just going to be about real estate. It's going to be about all of the things that can round out the journey to wealth, if we can call it that. All right. Entrepreneur, what's going on? I see a lot of people in our real estate family in the audience on Clubhouse. So Joan Nicholas, what's going on? Karen, I see you. Jeffrey Broussard in the building. Let me stop naming people because I don't want to. Celeste, how you doing? Gregory, I don't want to miss somebody because I will get the call. Like, how come you didn't? Yeah, I was up there and you didn't call me. And all right, all right. Folks, you guys that are on TikTok, you guys that see me on TikTok, that phone number above my head, 702-710-8030, that is a direct line into what we do. You can text that number for information. You can call that number. I don't even have the voicemail set up yet. We're transitioning from one platform to another, but I will get your messages. And if you want to inquire about real estate investing, and you want to learn it, that is the way to do it. You can always go to 4datapoints.com. The number 4datapoints.com. What's up, Marge on TikTok? Good to see you too. Again, anybody on TikTok, you guys want to come up on stage, feel free to do it. Tavares, tell everybody who you are and where you're from, sir.
What's up, everyone? I am Tavares from the San Francisco Bay Area.
Woo, woo.
I have spent over 10 and a half years in the multifamily industry. Started off as a concierge, made my way up to a business manager. Pandemic hit, and then I made a pivot. The rest of the information you can find on my bio. But I am the manager of student relations here at 4 Data Points Academy. So if you have a question or any inquiry about anything student worthy or related, go ahead and email me, Tavares at 4datapoints.com. And have known Otis and James over 38, 39 years. I think it's 39 now. So
yes,
we go
sir.
back like car. Yeah, right. So we go back like car seats, y'all. So it's family, it's love. Thank you all for being here. All right. And let's get it.
All right. Entrepreneur, man. What's going on, brother? And I know you guys on TikTok. I don't think you guys can hear the folks on Clubhouse because I'm not doing the connection right, of course. I'm sure there's some cord that's not plugged in to where it needs to be, but I ain't supposed to be doing this stuff anyway. I'm supposed to have somebody doing this stuff. So we're going to have to rock with it. At the end of the day, I'm just somebody's dad trying to figure it out. Entrepreneur, what's going on, brother, on Clubhouse? Tell everybody who you are and where you're from, sir.
Hey, what's up? Good morning and afternoon, everybody. My name is Entrepreneur. Out of the Philadelphia area,
Illadelph in the
Super
building.
Bowl winning Eagles of Super Bowl 59.
Here we go.
And I am a part of the 4 Data Points Academy. Out this way, I'm a real estate investor, Amazon reseller, and I have a medical courier business. And like I said, I'm a part of the 4 Data Points Academy. And even though Otis is a San Francisco 49ers fan,
You know
I
what it
overlooked
is.
that for him to be my mentor. So that part is the good part of the relationship with Otis.
Yeah, no, that's
and the
I
mentorship.
mean, you know a winner when you see one. You know a winner when you see one. All right.
And so do you.
Yeah, I
Eagles.
and did I give you guys the love and the honor that you deserve, correct? Yes,
That is correct.
yes, I did. Yes, I did. Because we have more class. 49er fans have a little more class than all the other fans. So we pay homage when it is
Well,
when it's appropriate.
we're Philadelphia Eagles. Nobody likes us.
Well,
and
you're
we
young
win.
winners. You're young winners, right? You're young winners. Get a few more under your belt, and then we'll.
Wait, hold on.
Oh.
You got to get along with, you got to get the class going, but the talking points for the 4 data points going. But I must say this, we're not. 1933 is our exception. Won 3 NFL championships before Super Bowls were created. So
Yeah, that's
my
back when they were
squad is
playing with
9
leather
0.
helmets. Like that means you got to give me the same amount.
Hey, yes, I will.
There was
Listen,
4
however,
teams. There was 4 teams back then.
hey, listen, they won. It was about 12 teams, but they won. So a
You
championship is a
had
championship,
to take it back
correct?
to the Negro League.
Let me shut up so you could get this thing going.
Amen. Shout out to Entrepreneur, overall good dude and member of the 4 Data Points Academy. So I want to take it back to basics. I want to take it back to basics first. And so why the 4 data points? Because those 4 questions are the only thing that matter to real estate investors. I want to know what it costs or what am I willing to pay. I want to know what it's going to cost to fix up. I want to know what's it going to be worth when I'm done. How much income can it generate? And I always start with the last 2. What's it going to be worth when I'm done? And then how much income can it generate to help me determine whether I can keep it or not? Some of these projects are better flips and not better long-term holds. And if you can answer these 4 questions, then you are ahead of 95% of the people getting into real estate investing. And what happens is people move forward without answering these questions or the information that is derived from asking these questions, they are not able to interpret. And if you're not able to interpret these 4 questions, then you're not doing, it's not helping you, right? Now, why just 4 questions, right? I just gave you one reason, but another reason is to remove the emotional component of real estate investing. Part of the hardest thing about teaching people about investing is is giving them the right mindset. Right? A lot of people don't have the right mindset, and um, that really changes the experience for a lot of people because you got to teach people how to think, especially with respect to their relationship with money. Right? And that's not an easy thing to do because a lot of us are conditioned and we've got, financial trauma and all types of things surrounding money. And that's really hard to that's really hard to overcome. So I have a lot of faith in my ability to make money. So I'm not attached to it the way the average person is. And because I have a lot of faith in my ability to make it, then it also makes me a lot more giving and willing to create opportunities that could potentially cost me more money than I make for that opportunity for the benefit of other people. And I'll give you an example. And I think you guys heard me talk about this last week. One our pricing is, to join our real estate family, it ranges from 6 grand to 15, almost 16 grand. But the 16 grand, we find your first deal for you. You have one-on-ones with me for as long as you need them, and there's no end date. So, that if you compare it apples to apples to another organization that does what we do, they're charging you 60 grand off the bat. And that's just, they don't find the deal, they don't do any of that stuff. They're not obligated to you after that relationship is over. And so I looked at, the top 5 just to see where we rank in, support and, just how we do things. And the 2 that came the closest, one was they want $35,000 a year, and the other one wanted 25,000 a year. There were more expensive ones, but these ones offered the most support. But it was still, after a certain point, you're done. You gotta keep paying that money over time, and that's just not realistic for the average person that wants to get into real estate investing. And that's why so many people feel like they're kept out of a lot of these opportunities because it's cost prohibitive. But if I can teach you to where you need me less and less over time, then I can, service more people. All right. Now I'm not the only one that does the teaching. James comes in, he does the business acumen stuff. Dr. Alfred Smith is going to be leading some of the teachings. Tavares is going to be incorporated in some of the teachings. So it's not going to be all just me, but I just didn't like the way the world was as far as real estate education. I don't like it. I just Every time I look up, it seems like everything's a scam. You just got people that are just shouldn't be teaching it, and maybe some of the people have good intentions. Entrepreneur, go ahead. Okay, I see you, Ron. Let me see. Maybe some people have the best intentions, but I've spent money with people that I've met on these platforms, and I'm not talking about a couple $100, right? I'm talking about, this person says, "Hey, this is what I do. I do this thing." I said, "All right, well, I could use that thing for a certain aspect of my business. Here's 10 grand." And then they were trash. They just didn't, and I don't know, they just weren't good at what they misrepresented themselves. And, so I could imagine a lot of people are going through that, and that 10 grand that they spend, maybe it could have took them 10 years to save that or 5 years to save that or whatever. And what if that was me? I'd have put a hit out on this dude, if somebody hadn't talked me off the ledge, right? And so we wanted to be able to create something where we can meet the person where they're at. For example, I have people in my real estate family that are very well to do. They're already making 6 figures in their corporate job, and they want to invest in real estate on the side. They've got some resources, they've got the credit, they don't have all the time. So I would teach that person how to invest from a distance and how to invest while not disrupting their current life. We also have some people that maybe they're on their way up, maybe they're going through a financial storm, and my teaching for them is going to be a little different. Now, this is after everybody goes over the 7 or 8 weeks of fundamentals, right? They learn the basics, they can ask questions. We actually do some of the stuff, virtually live, looking at deals and all of the stuff, right? But I'm going to teach after that ends, I've got to meet them where they're at. I've got to teach them differently than I would teach somebody with more resources. So for them, we focus on structuring deals creatively and how to pay out of your exit strategy and all of these things. So it's not a cookie cutter education for everybody. The only part that's cookie cutter is the fundamentals, because those don't change regardless of where you are, right? You got to understand how to assess a deal. You got to understand how to do a basic rehab. You got to understand the documents that we do. You got to understand the different types of financing and how they're utilized. You got to understand, let me see, question for 16 grand, am I paying more for other classes or new programs later down the road? No. So for 16 grand, you never pay again. So if you can, it's continued education is for as long as we exist. So it's not like here's 16 grand, I teach you and then tell you to go be great. That I don't think that works. And even for 6 grand, I'm not going to teach you and tell you to go be great. I, it does not. You cannot teach somebody like that. There's too many variables that exist for you to teach somebody and expect that anything they do is going to fall 100% in line with that thing. Okay, so this is the process. So first of all, there is no end date, right? There's 4 days out of the week that people can come and get support for whatever it is that they need virtually, 4 days out of the week. Then the next thing up from that, those are the people that have one-on-ones with me. One-on-ones means you call my cell phone and we knock out whatever it is. I don't care what it is. And I can facilitate more one-on-ones than the average person because my level of experience is at a level where I can resolve issues in just a few minutes. Right. And there may be some times where somebody will email me something about a question about what they're going through. And I think that, okay, I think they may be approaching this the wrong way. And I'll go ahead and reach out to them and say, hey, you need to stop and let me go ahead and talk you through this real quick. So, and then, so there's three options, right? There's the group curriculum, there's the group curriculum with the one on one, and then there's the top one, which is the most expensive, but it also has the most value too. If I get your first deal for you, that means I'm helping you with, structuring all of the paperwork. I'm helping you with getting the contractors and opening escrow and making sure you have the right insurance, all of these things. So you're not supposed to know what you're doing. I'm supposed to make sure that I hold your hand through the process so that you don't have to. So, and I'm only one person, and I'm not going to outsource that to other trainers because there's a lot of things that can go wrong in real world investing. And I believe I'm the most qualified to be able to navigate people through that. So, you know, you really have to get in under, and we're very transparent about it. Like we put that stuff on our website. If you go to other websites, there's a reason they don't put their pricing up there, because they'll scare people away, because people will look at the pricing, look what they offer, and they won't be able to see the value with that. I tell people up front, this is what I would do if I was you. And we have calls. We set up calls. We don't allow people to just go and swipe their credit card. I mean, you can, but we discourage it, right? Because we may not be for you. I've had people that wanted to come in, people with a lot of money that just wanted to get the most expensive thing because they thought that was just the best thing to do. But for their scenario and what they wanted to do, they just wanted to be able to, help their family when their family goes through stuff. They didn't want to be an active investor. They just wanted the education. So many times we had to push people down, say, just do the group curriculum. You can accomplish this with that. So, we're very strategic in what it is that we're doing, and very transparent. And if something is not working, then we have to address it, because I got to look at you every week. Other programs, first of all, Grant Cardone, you ain't gonna get Grant on the phone. Right. And I like him. I like Grant. I'm not saying anything about his program or what he does, but I'm saying you'll get somebody on the phone. But those types of programs aren't like ours. We're not the same, right? We don't tell people to invest in our projects. We don't tell people to, invest in to be passive investors. I teach people everything so they can decide what they want to be. I don't want you to invest in, if we do a project together, that means I'm invested too, right? And I usually require people to be a little more savvy when we do that. So, 4 Data Points Academy is developing people into seasoned real estate investors for as long as it takes. I've got, you know, oh, is she in here? She always she's. I'm not gonna say her name, but we brought somebody in that I think I I think I mentored her for. She shared her story on one of these clubhouse rooms, and she was living in a hotel and she had 4 kids. Now, her situation was a bad situation, but I saw how motivated she was, and she was like, I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna learn this. I'm gonna do it, whatever it takes. And I love that so much. I offered to mentor her for free. Right? I said, I'll mentor you for free. You just come in and we'll go ahead and onboard you. You'll have access to all of the knowledge that we have. And if you try something and you need me to coach you through it, come back. You got 4 nights a week if you don't have one-on-ones. And she's no longer gonna living in a hotel. I'll just tell you that. But she had 4 kids. And I understand, I've had my son, and my son is very intelligent, right? His pooping skills aren't where I would like to see them at the moment, but once he learns how to make the connection between I have to poop and actually go into the toilet, the guy's going to be dangerous. All right. Now, I consider myself to be an intelligent person also. Me and him alone, unsupervised, it's a recipe for disaster. It just is. It's a recipe for disaster. I'm overwhelmed. I don't understand his reasoning on a lot of things. He's looking at me like I'm supposed to be in charge. It's just a mess. So imagine somebody with 4 children trying to do this. And so I was just super impressed with her, but I had to create something for her. She didn't have the time and resources to just sit behind a Zoom screen all day because she's got to survive first. So we wanted to create something for her where she could still put her focus on getting a job, right? She could place her focus on, taking care of the kids and making sure they are, where they need to be. And, she could come in the evenings and come to the classes. And if she can't make one of the classes, she can get the next one. And if she's going through something and she needs to be coached through it and it's late at night or something, she has access to our videos and all of that other stuff. So, it's really more than just the money. It's really creating, opportunities for folks. So 4 Data Points Academy to protect people, right? When I mentor people, sometimes when we do these lives, I simplify things in a way that people can walk away from the room and go do something. And if they do that and they're under my protection, I shouldn't say it like that, under my protection. If they do that, and I'm not supporting them, there's a risk that they could get themselves into trouble. But I know that if they can master these 4 questions, and I give that guide away for free. I've been giving it away for 4 years for free. If you're investing and you don't have the 4 Data Points guide, uh, unless you're already seasoned, then I don't know what you're doing. But because they may get confidence from hearing me simplify some of this stuff, and then there's the potential of them going out there and getting into some trouble. 4 Data Points, if they master those, I know they're not going to get in trouble. I know they're at least not going to execute based on the answers that they get to those 4 questions. What does it cost? What does it cost to fix up? What's it going to be worth when I'm done? How much income can it generate? Right. So that's 4 Data Points. That's one of the reasons, to protect people. The second reason I just mentioned a little while ago is to remove the emotional component of investing in real estate. Right. That is what I see people get slaughtered because, oh, I got to get my first deal. I got to get my first deal. I got to get my first deal. There's 2 people that James isn't here right now, but James and I were having a conversation about in our real estate family. One got their first deal in just a few weeks. The other one didn't get a deal for almost a year, right? Life happens and there were some financial issues and whatever it is, right? The one that didn't get their deal for, the first year had looked at 40 or 50 deals, but based on the 4 Data Points, none of them penciled out. So James and I posed the question, who's more successful? Okay. Who's more successful? I said, well, you got to define success. Who's more seasoned and who am I more comfortable investing with and doing a project with? It's not going to be the person that got their first deal in 3 weeks, because there's nothing there that shows me that they know how to avoid a bad deal. The person that didn't have a deal penciled out after looking at 40 or 50 of them, I'm more comfortable going with that person because long term, the education that they got and all those deals getting rejected is more valuable than somebody getting their first deal. And I don't think the world looks at it like that, especially because of how we're marketed to. There's always people trying to sell you something and say, hey, look, I can get you your first deal in 30 days. Well, so what? I can get you your first deal today. If somebody came up on stage right now and was like, hey, I got 16 grand, I could stop this live stream and have you in a deal in 45 minutes. Literally. I have them there. Right. But is it a good deal? Right? It may be just a deal. They would have to take my word that it's a legitimate deal. Do they know how to evaluate it yet? Probably not. All right. So just being able to get the deal is the easy part. But I got to teach people how to hunt when I'm gone, right? To be able to be self-sufficient. So I think the person that, rejected a bunch of deals or had a bunch of deals that didn't pencil out is going to be the most advanced person. I trust that person. So we define our sex and our sex. We do define our sex, right? I'm a he, him. Sorry. I don't want to upset any liberals. I'm sorry. I get distracted easy. So we do define our success a little different. If you guys ever email me with them pronouns in your email signature, I'm just going to block you. I'm not going. We're from a different generation. All right. So removing the emotional component of real estate investing is another purpose of those 4 data points, right? People get excited about getting their first deal and get into something they can't get out of, and it costs them something long term, right? Another thing, it's a learning tool, right? It's not just teaching people how to invest in real estate, it's teaching them how to learn how to invest in real estate. So when somebody comes in and they're exposed to real estate investing for the first time, it can be overwhelming. And when people are overwhelmed, they want to give up, right? They don't want to, they lose enthusiasm. And I can see that light leaving people's eyes after a while. So I have to talk a lot of people off the ledge, in those cases. But um, simplifying it into 4 questions and then analyzing those 4 questions teaches you so much more than you taking a bunch of courses, right? A lot of these courses that I've seen out there and that I've taken, right? Sometimes I'll take courses just to see if anybody's one up in me, right? I like to be number one in everything that I do. So I'll go to seminars and I'll take these courses and all this stuff. Uh, and what happens is they sell you on content and information. And I don't think that's the most valuable way to do it. You guys have been following me on Clubhouse and some of these platforms for 4 years. I've been giving all the information away for free. That is not why people pay me the $6, $12, $16,000. It ain't for the information. I'll tell people, look, you can Google a lot of this stuff, right? You can chat GPT a lot of this stuff. That's why I give it away for free. I place no value on the information. Experience and support is where I place the value, because I know if I was learning, you can teach me something 10 times in a row, but until I actually do it and get stuck and you walk me through it in the real world environment, then I'm not going to learn, right? I don't learn that way, right? It's like math, right? Math, you got to keep practicing to get better at it. It's the same way with real estate investing. And just when you think you've learned everything, this is a big thing, and this is why support is so important. Just when you think you've learned everything, things change. The economic landscape can change. So everybody that took them Burr method courses back in 2022, and when interest rates were real low, all right, none of that stuff is valid at 6 and 7% interest rates. All right. Now you still understand it, so I'm not devaluing the education. That's one strategy you should have in your toolbox. But it doesn't work in California. It doesn't work in California because that final mortgage that you get is not enough to service the debt, even though the income that it generates is not enough to service the debt on the final mortgage, even though we have the highest rents in the country. But if you don't know that, then you're sitting there trying to find a deal using the Burr method, and you're wondering why you can't find any. Right? So it's a learning tool, right? Teaching people how to invest. So it's only 4 questions. Well, I'm gonna pay 16 grand to to answer 4 questions. 6 grand to answer 4 questions, whatever it is. Yes, because guess what? When I'm evaluating the 2,000 unit development and I have to do a budget or a pro forma or projections for 3,000 units, 25, it is those 4 questions. What does it cost? What does it cost to fix up? What's it going to be worth when I'm done? How much income can it generate? Okay. And I'll give you some examples of that since because I'm taking it back to basics. Um, let's take that $30,000 house example. What does it cost? 30,000. What does it cost to fix up? Another 30,000. What's it going to be worth when I'm done? Well, it's in a neighborhood where homes in better condition are selling for 100 grand. So ours is probably going to be worth the same. What does it rent out for? $1,000 a month. So what do we know from that? We know that, and I'll go over them again. What does it cost? 30 grand. What does it cost to fix up? Another 30 grand. What's it going to be worth when I'm done? 100 grand. How much income can it generate? $1,000 bucks. That's the 4 data points. When I'm looking at a property, I take a piece of scratch paper and just write down 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, you guys on TikTok, if you that phone number at the top of my head, you can text that, you can call it. I don't have a voicemail set up. They're working on it right now, but I will get your contact, and I'll do my best to provide to service you. All right. Now, with this imaginary house, and by the way, this would be a house in like Detroit or something like that, Harperwood, somewhere out there. There's a market where you can still buy houses for $30,000, $40,000. Now, what does this tell me? What does answering the 4 questions tell me about this $30,000 house that needs a $30,000 rehab to be worth $100,000 when we're done, that we can rent out for $1,000? What does that tell me? Well, it tells me I'm going to be all in 60,000. What does it cost? 30 grand. What does it cost to fix up another 30 grand? Tells me I'm going to be all in 60,000. What does data point number 3 tell me? Well, it's going to be worth 100 grand when I'm done, but what good is that information? Well, I know if I want to keep this property, I can get a mortgage for 80% of the value. That tells me 80% of the value, 80% of 100 grand is $80,000. I'm all in 60. I can get a mortgage for 80. Okay, great. I can net $20,000 if I decide to keep this. Now, I'm not incorporating points and fees, just for math reasons, but you guys get it. All right. So I'm all in 60. I can borrow the money to buy it. I can borrow the money to fix it up. It's going to be worth 100 grand. I can get an $80,000 mortgage, pay off all that debt, be left with a 30-year fix and a $20,000 delta in my pocket tax free. That's what that tells me. All right. Data point number 4, how much income can it generate? $1,000 a month. What does that tell me? Well, I can put that $80,000 mortgage that I'm going to exit with, put it into my payment calculator and see how much it's going to cost me. Depending on the interest rate, maybe it costs me $700 a month. Well, data point number 4, how much income can it generate? It generates $1,000 a month. $700 a month from 1,000 is 300. I can net $300 a month. So I can walk away, if I did use the Burr method in that process, utilizing the 4 data points to tell me what it is, I can walk away with $300 a month in perpetuity, cash flow, and $20,000 tax-free out of the cash out refinance. Okay? That's how we use the 4 data points. Right? Now, that is probably the simplest way possible to use it. Okay? Let's look at another scenario. Utilizing the 4 data points. I'm going to go to that Jackson house that I always use the same example. So the Jackson, Mississippi house, we saw one. I flew down there. I had 2 students down there, a mother and son team. And back when we first started this is how obsessed I was for making sure this stuff worked. Okay. And I told people my first 2 months of starting this that the people are rocking with me now are going to get the most value, because while we were working out all the kinks, we were a lot smaller. So I felt like our end user experience was limited and I priced it based on that. But the folks that paid the tier 3 $5,000, they're still in my real estate family, by the way. They still get everything that all the new people get. All right. I would fly out to them and go through their neighborhood just so they can see real time what I look for and how I assess deals when we're just, walking around. That's how obsessed I was. I would literally fly out there, hotels, cars, spend a weekend with them and go do. Now, obviously I can't do that anymore, but they still get, similar attention. All right. Now, there was a house in Jackson, Mississippi that they wanted $10,000 for. Now, let's run the 4 data points. $10,000 is the purchase price. Remember, data point number 1 is what does it cost, or what does it cost to fix up? Data point number 2, data point number 1 is what does it cost, or what am I willing to pay? Data point number 2 is what does it cost to fix up? So what does it cost to fix up? In this case, it was 40 grand to fix it up. Data point number 3 is what's it going to be worth when we're done? $25,000. Why? Because houses in the area were in such bad shape that that's as much as they were selling for. They weren't selling for very much. How much income could it generate? Data point number 4, $700. So 4 data points. Data point number 1, 10,000. Data point number 2, 40,000. What's it cost to fix up? Data point number 3, what's it going to be worth when I'm done? 25,000. Data point number 4, how much income can it generate? $700 a month. So what do those 4 data points tell me in this case? Well, $10,000. Well, shoot, if I don't have that, I'm not getting financing for it. No one's lending that low. So I know it's going to be all cash on the purchase. $40,000 is what it costs to fix up. Well, that's going to have to be all cash, or I'm going to have to borrow it from a non-real estate related company like consumer lending sites like I don't know, lendingclub.com or Best Egg or one of those folks. Okay. Or it's going to have to be all cash. Data point number 3, what's it going to be worth when I'm done? It's going to be worth half of the money that I put into it. So I'm going to be all in 50,000 for a property that's only going to be worth 25,000 when I finish. That tells me that. So no one's going to finance that. Data point number 4, how much income can it generate? $700 a month. So to the average consumer, when you say, is this a good deal or a bad deal? They're going to say it's the bad deal. I'm not going to pay, $50,000 for something that's going to be worth half that when I'm done. But as a real estate investor that is familiar with 4 data points and that uses it as a tool, can see that it's actually a really good investment. If you have the cash or you can finance it from somewhere else, because it generates $700 a month. $700 a month times 12 months is $8,400. $8,400 divided by the 50,000 that you'd be all in is 16.8%. Now, if you've got $50,000 sitting somewhere right now, spoiler alert, it ain't getting 16.8%. And that's just the first year, because after that, there's no debt on it. Right? So the 4 data points helps me evaluate, does this property fit into my buy box? All right. That's an outstanding deal for somebody that's a long-term hold investor. Now, if I'd have known Deion Sanders was coming to Jackson State, I'd have bought that house, because it's worth a lot more than that right now. But hindsight is 2020, right? But based on the information at the time, I would have made a good financial decision with respect to that house. Okay. 4 data points, 4 questions. So I teach people how to look at that. Right now, let's go into multifamily commercial. You guys know that my heart and DNA is in the multifamily commercial industry. I was overseeing $650 million in multifamily commercial assets. I was doing budgets, $55 million budgets. I had to account for $13 million in expenses and the rest in income. And that was just for one of the properties. I think the gross potential rent for every property under me was like $80 million or something like that. 4 data points. What does it cost? We don't know. Let's say we're looking at the 10-unit apartment building. We don't know. What does it cost to fix up? We still don't know. We haven't looked that deep into it. What's it going to be worth when I'm done? Guess what? We still don't know. Right. So we're over 3. Data point number 4. How much income can it generate? Okay, now we can start somewhere. Now we get into the multifamily commercial curriculum. Multifamily commercial, 5 units and up, is valued based on the income that it generates, not based on what the building next door sold for. 1 to 4 units is valued based on what similar properties in the neighborhood sold for. So it doesn't matter how much income they make, it doesn't directly impact the value in 1 to 4 units. The more the income that a multifamily commercial property makes, the more it's worth. So I always start with the income. What's it making now? And let's say it's making $3,000 a month right now. Okay. That's enough for me to start investigating. $3,000 a month times 12 months is 36,000. It's a small apartment building, so I'll back out 20% for expenses. That puts me at $28,800. The cap rate in the area is 6.5%. 28,800 divided by 0.065 is 447,000. $443,077. That's what it is. $443,077. I know what the value is right now, not based on my opinion, not based on what the building next door sold for, but based on the financials. Okay. I know what it's worth. What's it going to be worth? Because I got to figure out what data point number 3 is. Well, let me see. It was making $3,000 a month, but what if I fix those units up and I can get $5,800 a month? All right, that's fine. $5,800 times 12 months equals 69,600. Back out 20% for expenses, because we always got to use the same back out percentage. Puts me at 55,680. That's my net operating income. 55,680 divided by the cap rate divided by 0.065 equals 856,000. Guess what the property is going to be worth when I'm done? 856,000 and change. Okay. Now, data point number 2. What does it cost to get me there? What does it cost me to fix up those units? But let's just look at what I figured out so far between data point number 3 and 4. Data point number 4 is how much income it can generate. Now, in multifamily commercial, I'm interested in how much income it is generating, because that's how I determine how much I'm gonna pay for it. And then I look at, if I can get max potential rent, how much income will it generate? Then I come up with a different number. So how much income is it generating now? That tells me what it's worth now. How much income will it generate when I'm done? That tells me what it's going to be worth. I fill that into data point number 3. We already know data point number 3, what's it going to be worth when we're done? 856,000. Just from having those two numbers, I can start determining whether this is going to be on my buy box. Well, 856,000 and change, I can get a mortgage for 80% of that times 0.80. That's a $685,000 mortgage. Well, guess what? It's worth $443,077. So that's what I'm going to go into contract for and ask to purchase it from the seller for that amount. But I know how much I'm going to make it worth. So the seller could just sell it on the open market for what it's worth. Why work with me? Because I'm going to throw in another 20 grand just to incentivize them to work with me and allow me to get creative with this. I can get a $685,000 mortgage. What's $685,000 minus $443,077 plus the 20 grand? Well, whatever's left over, it's probably about 180,000, 190,000, something like that, somewhere in there. I can make that on this deal, right? I already know that. Now I got to go to, okay, well, what's it going to cost me so I can get these rents? I have a process for that. I can do a scope of work, bring contractors in, give me an estimate, and I can go from there. And then once I have all that information, data point number 1, I can revisit, is the offer price where I initially thought it should be, right? So this is just 4 questions. 4 questions. What does it cost? What does it cost to fix up? What's it going to be worth when I'm done? How much income can it generate? That is phase 1. You are not going to get past those 4 questions. That is phase 1. Now, after we get in contract, there's a whole separate due diligence package that I have that I would have to teach you that is far more complicated. But look how far you can get with those 4 questions. So that's why we named it 4 Data Points Academy, because it is the foundation of real estate investing. And with those 4 questions asked and answered, me teaching you how to interpret those answers, I can take you to the promised land with that. Then we just build everything on top of that. We build all the real estate education on top of that. Okay, well, how do I accomplish this with no capital? Now, do I think you should build a business model around buying real estate with 0 capital? No. You probably starve to death, because if you don't have any money, you're probably not going to be very successful. Yes, you can acquire real estate for 0 capital up front, but how did you find those people? It costs money to let people know what you do. Remember, it's not who you are. It's not who you know. It's not what you know. It's who knows what you do. So I know companies, their business model is being able to buy real estate with 0 capital or using creative financing or structuring deals creatively. I teach all of that stuff. But guess what? Those same companies are spending $25,000 a month in advertising to generate those conversations to be able to do that. So we have to manage expectations about what buying real estate for 0 capital actually means. All right. But that is just week 1. That is the 4 data points is just week 1. When we don't go past that, we will go over that not 1 time, not 2 times, not 10 times, not 20 times. We will go over it 1,000 times if we have to, when we're teaching people how to invest in real estate. All right. All the other stuff comes after that. And that is why I didn't want to have a system where there was an end date, right? You start with us and then you end, and I say, hey, good luck to you. That's what other, programs are designed to do. Right? And we don't want to do that. So that was a lesson on the 4 data points. 4 Data Points Academy. You guys can find the information. If you guys are on TikTok, that number at the top of my head, or you can just go to the website, 4datapoints.com. Tavares, did I explain that? Did I explain that in a way that was simplified? I know you didn't heard it a million times.
Absolutely. It was well done, for sure. Well
Thank
done.
you.
And we have a question real quick. You're welcome. Where'd that question go? We have a question somewhere.
I'll just be talking. I'll talk before you.
I think she deleted it, but it was a question about what calculator do you use? What mortgage calculator? Is that what it is?
Oh, you just any payment calculator. There's like a million of them.
Yeah, all right, cool. I forget where she went. It was Carisha asked that. Yes, she said she found a calculator. Thanks for the question, Carisha.
Yeah, there's literally a million of them. Zillow has one. Every probably real estate website has one. It's just a payment calculator, let you know what it is. But sometimes knowing what to calculate can get. I have tools and Excel spreadsheets and stuff when I get into the multifamily commercial stuff because calculations get a little more complicated when you've got 20 units, right? Or 100 units. I don't go above, 75 is probably going to be my ceiling. Once you start getting up to 100 units and above, you're dealing with a different type of competitor. These guys are well capitalized and I can't compete with them. These are the multifamily industry companies that, they got investors with $300 million looking to buy assets. They ain't worried about Otis, and I ain't worried about them. I know because I used to work for some of them. All right. What else we want to talk about? I feel like I done talk myself to death. Hold on. All right, let me go see if there's any more. Tavares, you posting your ass off over here. All right. All right.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So that's the basics. You know what else? We're going to Medellin. Anybody want to go? What's up, Sharon on Facebook? Anybody want to go to Medellin?
That's going to be a great time.
Yeah. Y'all don't want to go. I said, does anybody? No, I'm just kidding. I said, does anybody? Say it with your chest.
Yeah. Who else wants some Madivo? Who else?
Y'all don't want to go? All right, y'all can stay at work then. All right. No, but so we are going to we're going to Medellin, Colombia, and we are putting it's called Venture U. So it's not just specific to real estate. We're opening up registration to the general public tomorrow, but you guys that have been following me and are in my database, I'm giving you guys first crack at it since there's only we've only got so much space. We've only got it's a 17-room villa that we are all staying in. And in that villa, I've got subject matter experts coming out to teach. Let me see. Let me see. So we're going. We're going to have private chef. We're going to have the whole 9 yards. And one of the things that I wanted to do because I need to focus. Like I really need to focus. And when I'm working on my business, I can't have any distractions. And there was a lot of mistakes that I made coming up that you guys shouldn't have to. For example, and part of the reason was because we just grew so much faster than I had anticipated. So one of my biggest challenges was everything that I touch has to win because I'm taking money off of other people's plates, especially folks that are trying to teach real estate investing and they have a business model that generates a lot of revenue that has a start date and an end date of like 8 to 12 weeks or even a year. They can't compete with this because it costs them too much to do that. So those people are looking for a reason to say, you see, Otis and 4 Data Points Academy and all those guys over there, they're not who you thought they were, right? So for me, that was an enormous amount of pressure. So, the level of professionalism that we use and the support and the systems that we use, we don't get a pass. All right. We have to be better than everybody. So for me, I made a lot of mistakes on the back end with respect to what I thought was the right thing to do, right? You get a website and you create a system for people to be able to engage with that website. Maybe you have, a portal or a document management system so you can share lessons and all this. And I spent thousands upon thousands upon thousands to make sure it was where I needed it to be. And we're really just getting there now. But how many websites did I go through? How many developers did I go through? How I had zero automation. So I had to do way more. And my focus needs to be on leading the organization and executing my vision. I'm not supposed to be behind a computer, Excel spreadsheet, or whatever, doing all the administrative stuff. So a lot of business owners are going through that same transition. And that's not just specific to real estate. That's the people calling me. That's the entrepreneurial stuff that a lot of people don't really understand that's going to come with the territory. So I said, okay, I need subject matter experts in everything that being an entrepreneur entails, right? So on Wednesday, this is October 1st to October 6th. So Wednesday is when everybody meets and gets checked in. We don't want to overwhelm people, so we don't have anything. We're covering breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so you don't have to pay for your food. You don't have to pay. I mean, you've already paid for your food; it's included. Your stay is already included. Now we have organizations there and people that are going to come in and kind of, take people to do enjoy Medellin and do all those things. So I wanted to be able to have structure for developing your business, and then enough time to actually enjoy the country. So we stop at 4 p.m. every single day. Day two is about vision and foundation, right? So people are going to define their personal why. People are going to craft their business vision. They are going to understand how their why shapes their culture, their marketing, leadership. They're going to do a business overview and define their identity, and that has to do with defining your business model. They are going to understand marketing, market positioning, and how to get a competitive edge in their industry. And we're going to do research on their businesses and their industry prior to them getting there. So I think that's going to add a tremendous amount of value. Then they're going to lay out the operational foundation. They're going to decide their business structure, LLC, S corp. So I have subject matter experts coming in to discuss that. All right. And then their financial vision and their goals are going to set revenue goals and target and income goals and all these other things. That's day two. Okay. Again, I didn't want to overwhelm people. So 9 to 4, we cover breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The next day is day three, Friday. We only focus on marketing and sales, attracting the right audience. That's the first session. Session two is going to be the science of psychology of sales. Session three is going to be funnels, offers, conversions. Session four is going to be a disc in the sales process. That's going to be very involved. And any of these days on their own could be a course somewhere. All right. And then day four, we get into systems and tools. No one shared this with me. Right. And I had made seven figures multiple times over. Right. I did it in real estate investing. Well, that's the easy part. I did it in a non-real estate related situation, utilizing an outsourcing business model, and I did it teaching real estate. So I didn't have this stuff available to me. I had to figure it out on my own. All right. So session one on day four, we're going from, we're calling it the CEO shift. So we're going from hustle to systems, having systems in place. So I'm flying somebody in to go over different systems and critical business systems and automations and all of the tech stack technology stuff that you need to incorporate in your business so you can be hands off. All right. And that's going to be very, very involved. And then day five, we're calling it the wealth blueprint. Session one is going to be redefining wealth beyond the money. Session two is going to be, that's all me. That's the real estate. Session two is going to be all real estate investing. Session three is going to be leveraging different investment vehicles to invest. Session four is going to be making sure that you have the right legal entities to facilitate that process. So no one else was doing that. And I've been to retreats and all this stuff, and it was all like general stuff, right? And I'm like, all right, but what about my business specifically? What about my business? So this is going to be the first of many. We are going to pick different destinations, and the people that come to this first retreat will give them some advantages if they come on additional retreats. But that is under the Venture U brand, like joint venture, Venture U. And that's, you guys are going to start seeing a lot more of that, because we are going to start making sure that entrepreneurs can get the support that they need. And those folks that are doing side hustles, this is for them too, that want to transition from a 9 to 5 job to get into what they want to do in their life. I'm telling you, man, my perspective has changed. I'm seeing 50 years old over the horizon, and making money ain't enough for me anymore. What about quality of life? What about traveling the world? What about, experiencing things? I probably got 25 to 40 summers left statistically, right? And probably those last years are, I'm not going to be dunking on nobody at the basketball court, right? So this is something that's really important to me, where the reason why I opened it up to the people in my database first is because they've been rocking with me for some time, so I wanted to give them first crack. This is going to sell out. We already got people interested. I'm already going to have to start planning for the event after this. And I haven't even started publicizing this one. So if you guys are interested in that, you guys know how to find me. I'll send you the brochure. The website is going to be live tomorrow. Once the website goes live and we start telling everybody about what it is, it's going to be sold out. There's only 16 spots. So anyway, that sounded like a sales pitch. I didn't plan on doing that. But anyway, here we are. All right. What's up, Evelyn? You guys on TikTok, feel free to come up. If you have real estate questions, I will sit here and answer them. This Thursday, day after tomorrow, Dr. Alfred Smith is going to be back. We're going to get into some of the leadership stuff. Dun, dun, dun.
By the way,
Yes,
I
sir.
peeped out that Psycho Cybernetics. I actually just finished that book yesterday.
Yeah, man. It's
a good read.
Yeah, he's coached me through a lot of specifically personal development stuff. So shout out to Dr. Alfred Smith.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, he's tell you what that you guys have no idea, man. Like what you see on, I think I'm the most transparent because I share a lot of the bad, so people are well equipped when they get into this space. Because it doesn't do me any good to create this illusion and then people get here and they can't function in it. You guys hear me say things like, I'm built for this. Look, there are, if you're an entrepreneur, and I know this isn't real estate, but if you're an entrepreneur and you are, what's up, Evelyn? And you are starting on this journey, the level of difficulty that you expect is way lower than what it actually is. And it's not just the knowledge, it's understanding who you need to be to function in this environment, understanding how all of your relationships are impacted. And it's, there's always somebody that's not measuring up and letting you down, and this not working, and that's not, like, it is nonstop bad thing, bad thing, bad thing, bad thing, bad thing, good thing. And then that good thing erases all the bad things. That's what entrepreneurship is like. There's times where stuff is not going to be working. You see all of the stuff on TikTok. You see all of the stories that I tell. Yeah, I made 7 figures here. I made 7 figures there. I made 7 figures here. But listen to the stories that I tell about how all the money was spent, gone. Right. And I bought these systems, this was $5,000, $10,000. This is, I borrowed from here and paid all these, and then these investments didn't work. And then I had to, I had to go to my girl and be like, hey, I can't pay the mortgage this month. Like those, you don't see those. You don't see that stuff. You just see the highlights. Right. But I'm so, I'm so convinced of the level that I'm going to achieve, then I don't feel like I have to make people look at me a certain way. And a lot of people don't have that. And I got to credit my dad for that, man. He's been hyping me up ever since I was 3 years old. I'm walking into rooms thinking like, look, I own this room when I'm like the least qualified person there. My dad used to brag about how smart I was. I was like a C- student. But my confidence is always through the roof. What's up, Flame? My confidence was always through the roof because he just told me, he always said, like, from a very, very young age, he didn't just brag about me to me, he bragged about me to other people while I was sitting there. So even when I didn't appreciate it or know that the impact that it had, now I'm dangerous. Bad thing happens. Not only do I not get discouraged like I would in other cases, but I appreciate it because there's value in the bad things. And they don't teach that when you're becoming an entrepreneur. And we were having a conversation about, well, okay, well, if making $1 million is the goal, then you have completely missed the value in doing that. The value is becoming the person you have to be to make the $1 million, that journey to make $1 million. And by the time you turn into that person, $1 million ain't gonna be that important to you, because now you're gonna be looking at 10 million anyway. Like $1 million is gonna be like you almost feel silly for making that the goal in the first place, right? Because of the person, you get thicker skin when you get there. A lot of folks that set out to be entrepreneurs, if they made $1 million the next day, the day after they probably lose it. Like they're not the person that they have to be. And I don't think enough people appreciate that, right? What do you do when you post on social media and nobody looks at it? You're gonna be mad, is what you're gonna do. Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm still, some of my feelings get a little hurt sometimes still. I'd be like, look, I'm about to kill him with this one. This post right here, I am about to change. Matter of fact, let me check. Let me make sure I got the phone clear, because my phone about to be ringing off the hook. You know what happens? Crickets. Crickets. I was like, what? I just told people, I show people how to buy a house with no money I just show people how to sell a farm. What's going on? People don't, you start thinking people don't appreciate you. So, you have to go through that and build that resilience to be able to function in some of the rooms that I walk into. And now I'm at the point where when I walk into a room, I, in my mind, they need me more than I need them. I'm not saying that from a place of arrogance. I'm saying that is I've positioned myself to where I don't need people to like me. I don't have to be somebody else to achieve a particular outcome. I don't walk into banks begging for loans, and I don't do that. My way of being has changed because of going through all of those things that may have hurt my feelings, or may have had me feeling less than. Now this is just, now you guys see the person that I've become. You see the person that I become, and I'm still not the person that I'm going to be, but I'm giving everybody constructive notice that, look, I told you guys 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, back in 4 years, January 2021, January going into February. I said, you better get my rookie card now, because I'm telling you where I'm going. And I was doing all this stuff for free for people, and I was creating all types of opportunities, and I was helping people through tough situations, and I was paying people's mortgages and rent, and I was flying strangers out to conferences and all this. I said, you guys better get my rookie card now, because where I'm going, you're going to try to get me on the phone, and it's not going to be possible. So now I'm going to tell you where I'm going next. You are going to say, yeah, I had a conversation. I had a conversation with him. Yeah, he talked to me. I called him about, joining his program. I didn't have the money to do it, but this man sat on the phone for an hour and talked to me even after he knew that I couldn't join his program. And ain't nobody gonna believe you. You ain't talk to him. You ain't do that. You ain't talk to him. You didn't have his cell phone number. Yeah, I still got it right here. Watch out. I'll call him right now. This number has been disconnected. I'm telling you. And I'm trying to take people with me. My goal is for everybody to be better than me that is in my circle. So look, some of these people that are in our real estate family, I love when people get discouraged, because they don't understand the value in that thing that's discouraging them. All right. Some of the people in my real estate family were going to quit in their first 6 weeks. And I always expect this call, right? Man, it's ain't nothing working. Like, I don't have the money to invest, and and I'm getting the knowledge, and there's certain things that just I'm still not being able to wrap my mind around it. All of that stuff is 100% normal, and so much so that we have structured our program around people being discouraged. And when people get discouraged, people get quiet, because some of our calls, our Zoom calls, because everybody's already went through the curriculum now, and now we just have a few new people that are going through it. But our Zoom calls used to be 50 people. Now they're a little smaller, so they're more manageable. And I can look in somebody's face. I've done it, folks. I've done this long enough and taught enough people to know whether somebody's getting it if I can see your face. I know whether you're discouraged or not if I can see your face. I can see it. No one has a poker face, folks. No one has a poker face. And I was in ministry for 3 years, so I have a deep understanding of the human condition, right? So when I'm talking to somebody, I can see where they are, even if they don't tell me. So I have to switch. I have to switch it up, and I have a line of questioning that is going to make them confess. Right? I have a line of questioning for that, and that's okay, because once they do that, you got to be fully transparent. I can work with transparent. Right? I can't work with somebody not telling me what's up. Even though they already paid. They already paid. And I tell people, look, come and get help. You've already paid. It doesn't cost you anything to come back in. I don't care if you've been in for 2 years. This is the best. I can work the most with this. Somebody calls me, they've been in my program 2 years. They always come to the classes. They sit through scenarios. Some of them have even called me, outside, and I've walked them through whatever it is they were. my favorite response is, I have no idea what I'm doing. That is my favorite response. But people get discouraged. They don't want to say that. I've grown accustomed to saying that when it's an environment outside of real estate. I will stand up in the middle of an auditorium and say, I feel stupid. I feel like I should know this. I have no idea what I'm doing. And me sitting here every second after this is just me pretending that I do, because I understand the value in that. All right, let me stop. I don't know where we got off on that rant. I didn't have nothing playing today. I was just just going to talk about some real estate. Oh yeah, we were talking about the venture youth stuff and why we put this package together for entrepreneurs and people that want to leave their job and aspiring investors and real estate folks. So anyway, boy, you ever get tired of hearing the sound of your own voice? Let me invite everybody on TikTok up here. Y'all come up here. Y'all. Oh, okay. What's up, Atlanta? Is that Atlanta from from back in the okay? What's going on, sis? I'm gonna invite everybody. I'm gonna invite everybody up here. All right. Let me invite y'all viewers up here. Lana, what's going on? You're on mute, Queen. There you go.
Hey Otis.
What's up?
Why don't you let me see here. Tell you what. Yeah. What's an example of a deal that looked good on paper but didn't work out?
That's the one. Look, the one. I had a deal. Let me go back to my Instagram. Y'all look at. I had a deal. Let me find it on my Instagram. Hold on. I made like 200,000 on this deal, and oh man, shit. Let me see if I can find it on. I gotta scroll. Let me see. Shoot.
And does that happen often? Or has it happened often?
I didn't have it often. It didn't happen often. If it happened often, you'd probably be out of business. I had a deal, so we did 200. We made like 200 some thousand on this deal, and the post was how much I made on the deal, and then how much I got to keep. And I think that out of I'm trying to find it. It's on my Instagram somewhere. I got to scroll down because this is a couple years ago. What I got to keep on the deal was like $12,000. And I put a lot of time and energy into that deal and made a lot, had to fly out to Atlanta a bunch of times. This is one of my first Atlanta deals that I did with other people, and I had other people go in on the deal with me. And I wasn't fair in how I split the money. And when I say I wasn't fair, I'm talking about I wasn't fair to myself. But I have, you know, I took a loss so other people wouldn't have to. And that's not how real estate investing works. But I just felt like I could absorb the loss, and I wasn't sure if everybody else could. So I took the loss, and I don't think a lot of people realize that. So yeah, and I'll do it again too, because there was certain value in that had nothing to do with the real estate itself. It was developing relationships and making people feel good about investing. And in those relationships, the most valuable thing was my reputation is always going to be the most valuable thing. And I wanted people to understand that if there's going to be a loss, I'm never going to protect myself from the loss. If there's a loss, I'm going to take the brunt of it so other people don't have to. Is it going to work like that forever? No. Once people get more savvy, we can share the risk. But yeah, there are some deals that are really, really good. There's just too many things beyond your control. Now, we this was a three property deal. So it's three properties. One of them I seller financed, and the other two, the first one we bought at 400,000. We were going to put 60,000 into it and sell it for 625,000. The second one we bought for 290,000. We were going to put 30 into it and sell it for 425,000. And then the third one was kind of like a dud. We were going to break even on, just because but if we made so much money on the other three I was like, all right, I'll take that third one too. The third one was the one that I seller financed. I put nothing down. My numbers had it worth 110,000. I seller financed it for 95,000. put $1,000 down, didn't have to make any payments until 6 months later. I was going to pay it off 6 months later. And what do you think happened during this time? Well, interest rates rose up. When interest rates kept going up, and they didn't just go up once, they kept going up over and over and over. And I'm like, dang, man, but like, can y'all go do this? Can the water seek its own level for a second? And we ended up, because we ran the 4 data points, we knew how much profit we had. So the $625,000 house ended up only selling for $570,000 because interest rates go up, the cost of money is higher. The person that could afford it at the previous interest rate of 625 no longer can. So now we got to sell it for 570. So that was $55,000 that I expected to get that we didn't get. The other one that we bought for 290 ended up selling for, we thought it was going to sell for 425. It ended up selling for, I think, 375. That's another $50,000 that we thought we were going to get that we didn't. Nothing we can do. We had already started the project. We already own the properties, right? And so other people were in on that. I had a few other people that lent on that, and I created opportunities, for them. Some people lent on it. Some people had an equity position in it. There's probably, and they were new investors. So, I didn't even share this with a lot of them. The ones that were positioned as lenders, they got a return, right? I think the core people that I partnered with, one of them, one lost like 5,000, the other one lost, I think, maybe 5,000. I lost 35,000, and it got really, really tough that I had to start financing some of the aspects on my personal credit card because the time delay was causing money. I had to fly out there. The contractors that were working on it just weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing. I tried to create some opportunities, some jobs for some people. That came back to bite me. And just, you know, it is what it is. I'll never do that again. Right. I'll never do that again. I made that choice. And because I made that choice, I paid for it. So there's always going to be, no one's batting 1,000. I've got a deal I'm carrying right now that if I exit in the next 2 years, I'll be in at negative $100,000 on the deal. Negative. The other people that they just have a little money invested in it, maybe 10,000, maybe 5,000. I think one person is 15,000. One or two people got 15,000. They'll get, they'll get paid first. Everybody else gets paid first, and that's not how real estate investing works. Right. So do I have deals that, and I got some deals that I just hit out of the park with very little effort. Like that seller financing deal that I thought was a dud, the one that I took just for the other two. Well, guess what? I just took ownership of it and I rented it out. Right. I was like, all right. And I rented it out for less than it cost me to own it. So I was taking like a few $100 loss on it, but I'm like, it is what it is. Right. Again, it always goes back. My solution is always make more money. Make more money. So I have to have faith in my ability to make more money, not because of how I feel sometimes, but despite how I feel sometimes. Sometimes I want to take the safe route. All right. And that deal, that seller finance deal, turned out to be the most profitable deal because the what's up, Denise? Because the value I had wrong. I thought it was only valued at $110,000 or something like that. And I bought it for 95. I had it appraised, and it appraised for $220,000. And I only put like maybe 15 grand worth of work in it, if that. 220,000. But the problem was the HOA was, that's why I hate HOAs. Were such in bad shape, I could only get financing for 55% of the value. Well, 55% of 200,000 for 220, what is it? All right. 220 times to the point. Let's go. I got finance. I got $121,000 loan against it. $121,000 loan. I was able to pay off the seller, right? Give the seller his money, and then after points and fees, I walked away with like $13,000. But then guess what? So now I got a mortgage of $121,000. A couple years later, I go to sell a property, and I ended up selling it for $199. So that ended up being the most profitable one out of everything. So yeah, man, there's always going to be deals that go bad, but you got to know how to make money in real estate in in multiple ways. You just have to, whether it's lending on a deal, whether it's going up in asset class, whether it's um, you know, maybe you put deals together and get an acquisition fee, whether you wholesale a deal, whatever it is, you got to know how to make money in real estate multiple ways. And when people come into our real estate family, sometimes they're not in a position to do a flip by themselves. Now, I'm only obligated to educate people on how to do the stuff. But to me, if I know how to improve somebody's situation and I don't do it, I don't think that's right. So that's when I started putting groups together of people in similar positions within our real estate family and just doing flips for them. I did one flip and I got to absorb the things that go wrong. I only take 5 grand in the beginning and then I take 10% of the profits. And if we're getting too close to breaking even on the profits, I forfeit my 10% to the rest of the group so they don't have to, so they can get more. 5 grand is not worth my time, right? I've just flying out there twice, rent a car, hotel. I'm almost pushing 5 grand. I bill the hotel back to the group, but I only bill it back to the group at $199 a night. My hotel costs me $1,600. I ain't staying at the Howard Johnson. Y'all can do what you want to. I ain't worked this hard to be staying at a hotel that don't have no lobby where you can enter your room from outside. I ain't not doing that. But it is what it is because I see value in different things. So there's always going to be things that go wrong. Always. You contractors, rehabs go bad. I've had contractors that were absolutely perfect on paper. The work that they've done, I was able to verify they did a good job. And then they slept. They went to sleep on my job. There's no way to, that's just the nature of real estate investing. And I think a lot of people don't understand what we do is as investors, we buy problems for a living, right? We buy problems for a living. Me, I have to know how to create nothing or something from nothing. Nothing plus nothing leaves nothing. You had to do something, you know how the song go. So I had to be able to create something out of a nothing and then teach people how to do it because now everybody with this logo, you guys can't see the logo, but this 4 data points logo, this hat I'm wearing on TikTok or wherever y'all looking at me at, that is the most valuable. My name attached to this is the most valuable thing that I have. I'm able to get into certain rooms and people are willing to work with me because they see that I operate at a level of professionalism and integrity that is conducive to what it is that they're trying to do. And in this business, there's just not a lot of people you can trust. There just is not, right? Any of you guys have a question, just feel free to ask. I'm gonna tap out in a minute. What's up, Evelyn? I see you up. I invited you up. Tavares, I got you up here. I'll invite anybody up on the TikTok side if you guys want to ask a question or just want to hang out. That's fine. Otherwise, I'm gonna talk y'all to death. I'm just that's just what I do. Um, but I'm starting to get sick of hearing my voice, my own voice. So so we go wrap it up. So we go wrap it up in a minute. If you guys are interested in coming to Medellin, uh, I'm petty. I'm sorry. Yeah, I am a little petty. I look at some of the events that, oh, black people, we got to do better. I look at some of the events and I look at the value behind some of these events. How many yacht parties y'all gonna go on? How many networking and empowerment things y'all gonna go? How many panels are you? It's, there's just a lot of garbage out there, man. And I'm not the garbage police. You spend your money where you want to. You ain't got to do anything that I'm involved with. But you've got to learn to look at the value for a particular thing. If I go to an event and the biggest draw is a yacht party, I don't need to be at that event. I can get do well enough to where you can charter your own yacht. Me being on a yacht with a bunch of other people is not attractive to me. Me networking at this mansion you rented is not attractive to me. It doesn't generate any income. It's not the best use of my time. Workshops are the best use of my time if I'm getting into something that I'm not already seasoned in. Direct consultations, like here, this is where I'm at in my business. This is where I'm struggling. Can you offer a solution for X, Y, and Z? If you're going to an event, with 500 other people, they are not going to focus on you and exactly what it is that you are doing. They're there to make you feel good about being there. And I went to enough of those to be like, I'm tripping now. I don't know what I don't. Okay. So I'm not naming any events, but there was one event, and I'm not gonna say who it is, but it was like celebrities, but there was rappers there. The rappers were on the panel, and like there's a couple of ball players on the panel, and it was about business. If you have $1 million and you can't be successful in business, and you got $1 million, you don't need to be. You need to go back and really reevaluate what it is that you try to do. And one of the rappers was like, he wasn't even a successful business person, and they filled that event up. And I was like, oh, this is why we're broke. This is why we're broke. All right, it is what it is. But yeah. So if you guys want the brochure, and again, I'm not pooping on anybody else's event, right? It's you guys, at least they had an event, but the event that's their business. It wasn't, helping you do yours. Was that petty of me, Tavares? I feel like it was a little petty.
Nah, you're good.
Okay. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth, if nothing else. Look, if I mess up,
you're good.
I'm gonna tell y'all, look, I messed this up. All right, I'm gonna mess it. And I'm gonna try to make it right, but I'm not gonna mislead people into thinking, hey, if you come here, and I got 2 Chainz sitting on the panel, that's not gonna help you. And we gonna have a yacht party afterwards. Okay, you gonna be broke after the yacht party too. Like tell people the truth, but you gotta be able to be confident enough to tell people the truth.
We have a question from Terrence Pugh. What's up, Terrence?
What's up, Terrence? In the building.
He says, where is the brochure on this event?
You gotta. Where's Terrence? Where's the question at? Is it on TikTok?
It's on Clubhouse.
Clubhouse. What's up, Terrence? I see you down there, brother. Terrence, come up on stage on Clubhouse real quick. Come up on stage. Look, now look, y'all. I got a deep voice. Like this is my when I'm just if I call you at 2 a.m, this is the voice you're gonna get. Now, Terrence, this brother makes my voice sound like Macaulay Culkin. This brother got super bass in his voice. For those that want the brochure, if you just text the number up top or go to 4datapoints.com, I'll send you the brochure. It's not out to the general public until tomorrow. I'm giving all my people a chance. First right of refusal. So if my people see the value in it, they can jump on first. What's going on, Terrence?
Hey, how you doing, Otis?
Look I picture that's how Moses sounded. This is the highest pitch I've ever heard your voice. You must be up in Adam already. Terrence will hit you with it. Hey, Terrence will hit you with. Hey, I just got a quick question for you. I was looking at the foreplay. What's up, brother? It's good to hear your voice, man. What's going on with you?
Hey, nothing much, brother. I'm just hanging out with you guys. I'm always a student learning and trying to improve. That's all.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. My biggest challenge is trying to get out of my own way. I developed a tool. I didn't develop it. This is the tool that I use. I had to develop it for myself. Is anytime that I don't feel good about a particular thing, I think of the person I want to be 10 years from now, and I say, how would that person approach this? Right? How would that person approach this? That person would see the value in the struggle, and that person would dig deep and do what needs to be done for him to become that person in the first place. And I used to tell people in corporate that a similar version of this, because and we've all had jobs, right? Who you are at the interview is not always who people are once they get on the actual job. And I used to have people come when I would come on site. I would have, one of the managers would come to me and say, hey man, I got this problem with such and such and such and such. I said, okay, let's sit down. Let's pretend we're interviewing. Okay. And I posed this exact scenario to you. And I said, hey, Mike, and the name wasn't Mike. I'm just throwing out a name. What would you do in this scenario? And now you're trying to get the job. You're not going to say, oh, I don't know. I just go to my boss and be like, hey, what do I do? You're not going to say that. So what would you say at the interview right now? And then once I forced them to think in that space, they were able to come up with a solution for it. So I do the same thing for myself, right? So I am always learning. The more I learn, the more I realize how messed up I am, and how much of me I got to get out of the way of. Right? I'm just telling y'all the truth. All right, folks, we about to tap out. I think I've occupied most of your time. We went over the 4 data points today, the basics, the logic behind it, and the different thought processes associated with it. We looked at a couple of examples. We looked at the $30,000 house, the Jackson, Mississippi example. We learned how to apply it in the multifamily commercial space. And then we talked some, you know what, but I had to get back on here. I haven't been on here in a second because I had a tough week last week. So, yes, sir.
We have a question from Miracle K on Clubhouse. She says, when analyzing potential deals to either wholesale or fix and flip, when it comes to data point question number 2, how do you determine how much it will cost to fix?
Yeah. So when you're new, we break it down in 3 phases. The first phase is make as many observations as you can. Now, typically, I'll leverage my experience to be able to get a ballpark, but I'm from San Francisco Bay Area. Everything is more expensive. So most of the time I overestimate, right? But I just want to come into the world of possibility with respect to how close I get. So the first thing I look at is how many things are wrong and what are the things that are wrong. So if I look at a property and I know foundation needs work, I can tell if the property is 100 years old, electrical and plumbing are going to have to be redone. I know HVAC is going to have to be redone. I can look at the roof on Google Street View and see if the roof is leaning, because most of the time they send pictures anyway. But if they don't, if I know I got to address all 5 of those, then I know I'm in $70,000. And if it's a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, or a 4-bedroom, 1 bath, there's functional obsolescence there. It's no longer functional. I know that's going to cost me a significant amount to add a bathroom and expand the square footage. So experience for one. But let's say you get it wrong. All right. Let's say you get it wrong and you get into contract on a property. Well, the contract has an inspection period, and I usually set mine to about 10 days. During the inspection period, you physically go in, and this is if you don't do a home inspection. If you do a home inspection, you could do the home inspection in lieu of this. But let's say you don't do a home inspection because you're local. You go in, you make as many observations as possible. That's step 1. And those observations I record on a spreadsheet, just a line item, an itemized list of everything that needs to be done. Everything. Okay, flooring needs to be changed. I write down where it needs to be changed. Could be throughout the whole house. Interior paint, exterior paint, fixtures need to be changed. Ceiling fans need to be changed. The whole kitchen needs to be redone, but I'm not going to change the layout. So countertops, cabinets, flooring, which I already included in a different line item, faucets, light switches, everything. I go to the backyard, landscaping. I want to put some grass in, or maybe I want to put a deck in, whatever it is. And I got an itemized list. Step 1. Step 2 is converting it into a list that you can hand somebody or email somebody. So once I have that, then I'll give it to a contractor and say, hey, don't come to the property and look at what needs to be done and give me an estimate. Come to the property, but have my scope of work, which is just what I made, in your hand, and give me an estimate based on my scope of work. You can look at the property to reference the line items that I have on that list, but I want an itemized price for all of the things that I listed. So the key factor is, don't just have somebody look at the property and give you an estimate. You develop a scope of work based on your observations and have them price out your scope of work. And then once you get that detailed scope of work done, then step 3, you go ahead and bid it out to multiple contractors. So how do you figure out how much it's going to cost? Well, you really don't starting off. You can get close, right? And the more you do it, the closer you'll start to get. But keep in mind, I teach people how to invest when they're working a full-time job from 2,500 miles away. So we have to have a system in place to protect them, to keep them from getting into something that they're not going to be able to get out of. And the 4 data points, I'll run it with them. I'll look at the pictures that they have. And if it passes muster there, then we'll go to the next phase. We'll go ahead and go into contract. We'll have an inspection period, and we can either get a home inspection if we're not local, or we can go in there and develop a scope of work if we are local. So depending on what the scenario is, I'll coach people differently to go ahead and overcome that scenario, or get through that scenario. Did I answer that question all right? Come back up, Ron. I'm gonna stay on TikTok too after we shut down Clubhouse.
Yeah, she says, thank you, Otis and Tavares. You are welcome, Miracle.
They told me to come over there. How you guys doing?
What's up, Ron?
I'm just gonna be quick. I have to go to the operating room front desk,
Uh-huh.
4th floor.
Oh,
Operating room.
I thought you was talking to me, Ron. Look, Ron up here at Planned Parenthood.
My bad.
Ron at
I
Planned
got a
Parenthood.
question. Just give me a minute.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry,
everybody.
I got the green.
I'm trying. Let's just shut down the whole program so we can wait for Ron's question. Shout out to the people at Planned Parenthood for taking care of Ron.
I'm done with you right now.
Ron went to the front desk. Yeah, I got a gift card. This is Keisha. Yeah. Y'all got any more Plan Bs back there? Oh, I'm on mute. I'm sorry. I thought I was on mute. I'm sorry.
Oh man.
Hey, Otis, my bad.
It's all good, big dog. What's going on, man? And again, he's gone again. They're like, Ron. They're like, Rontrepreneur. The doctor will see you now.
Yeah, no. I told y'all I'm a
y'all don't want to be coming off mute and putting all your business out there.
Look, I'm a medical courier. I don't care about that.
Oh, right.
Here's a question I had. I heard you mention about the 16,000 for the membership.
Yeah.
To be a lifetime member. Remember when I came in, I was put the level 3.
Yeah.
With what I paid to get in.
So you're already at the $16,000 level. You just the only difference between that and what we have now is we find your deal for you. So now so you would be the.
So I need to put you to work then.
Well, you would have to join Dealmaker's Dream. So Dealmaker's Dream, we have for those people that are already in our program. So yeah, I love it. Look,
got you. I'm about to get on the elevator, so give me like a minute, and I'll be right back.
All right, everybody, stop. Ron about to get on the elevator. So I'll be so petty. It's funny. We do so folks. So if you don't know, we have our weekly roundups, right? And the weekly roundups we do on Monday evenings. So there's no class curriculum there. It's just an opportunity for me to gauge where people need support at. So we don't know what we're going to be going over. So we'll typically I'll just let the crowd, the people that come, lead it. We can go over whatever they want to. And some people get on and they don't know that they're not on mute. And I'm gonna listen. If you ever do that with me on Zoom call, I'm gonna listen for about 40 seconds to see what you got going on before I tell you that you on mute. So y'all better be on your mute game, because I don't want nobody to get embarrassed. I didn't see some people cussing their spouse out like, yeah, and we just listening. Shh, everybody be quiet. I know it's petty. I got to do better. Y'all getting to know the real Otis today. All right. Any other questions we have before we tap out? Yes, no, maybe so. Where's
no more. Let me see here. No more questions on Clubhouse. Miracle, you are welcome. And that's about it, my man. Everybody is they dialed in. They good.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's good.
Oh, Ron said Otis is super petty. I thought I read Otis is super pretty. I was like, Ron, you just made a whole. Ron, I don't know.
I'm so done with y'all right now.
I am, but you didn't have to say it. All right, shout out to Diddy.
Shout out to Diddy.
Yeah, we giving away baby lotion at 4datapoints.com. Anybody wants to moisturize? Folks, we're done. We're done. Nothing else productive is coming at it. I'm gonna stay on TikTok all day. I should stay on TikTok all day just while I work and see how many people come through. I'll just keep my earphones on in case people have a real estate question. Franco, if that's Franco, good to see you, brother. Carmen, I see you down there. Lana and Terry, what's going on? Jeremiah, what's up, big dog? Stacy, Karen, Jose, andale pues. David, Jeffrey, Carisha. All right, folks. All right, Clubhouse. I'll catch y'all later. See how my voice just did that? I didn't even do that on purpose. All right, we are done. All right, TikTok, it's just me and y'all. I'm about to tap out too. All right. You guys are interested in investing in real estate and learning the right way to do it? You can find a better program. Let me know. I'll pay for you to be in that one. I don't think anybody else will say that. 4datapoints.com, the number 4, DATAPOINTS. That number up top, you can text or call it. I don't have the voicemail set up yet because we're transitioning, but I will get your information and I will share with you what it is that we can do for you. Am I on YouTube? Oh, shoot, I'm still on YouTube. They're going to hit me for this copyright. All right, that being said, I think we're going to tap out. I got to get to work. Tavares, brother, thank you, man. I appreciate you facilitating. Ron, big dog, appreciate you and everybody else that tapped in. I am done. Oh, let me do this. All right, not yet. Oh, it's going to make me...